Hi, this is Grant Nicholas from Feeder, and you're listening to Louder.
So I'm here with Grant again, of Feeder. Back on the road. How are you, man?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, we're sort of two more shows left, so we've done 8 shows so far, and obviously here in Coventry on our tour bus. Oh, you were on the tour bus last time, weren't you?
Yeah, I think it was on
upstairs,
the tour bus as well.
Yeah, different tour bus. Yeah, I think we had a different. It was like a bigger upstairs lounge, I think.
Still looks really comfy.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I think the other bus we had was actually a bit nicer. It was a better configuration. This one's got like the toilet upstairs, where the bunks are, which is a bit weird, really. But yeah, it's fine. I've had a lot worse. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to explain this interview. The previous one, I just read everything you ever said. This one, I said, you know what? I'm going to change it up.
Right. Okay.
And I just started listening to your music.
Right.
And whatever came to my mind turned into a question. So it's going to be weird.
Okay.
Hopefully you're going to like it, but it's going to be different.
All right.
So let's start with the name of the album, the last one that was released just at the beginning of the year, All Bright Electric.
Yeah.
Sounds really positive, but the music just hit me.
Right.
It was really dark and sad, even Angels and Lullabies.
Right.
It's really dark. So what's with the weird name and theme?
There's some, I wouldn't say dark. I think it's just, I don't think the album's dark. I mean, I tend to write songs that reflect life, and it's not always, it's not always a happy, a time for everybody. And I just think that, I think that when I write songs, there's always a kind of thread of positivity in there as well. There's always like, oh, well, it's gonna be okay. I mean, Angels and Lullabies, you just mentioned, it's kind of, I don't know, I find that song quite comforting to listen to. I think it's got a lot of positivity in it as well. But everyone has their own interpretation of hearing music, don't they? You got something dark from it. The title came from, it was just a title I liked. I was driving, I'd just finished my solo record. I was out in New York. My friend lives sort of upper state New York way, a place called Yorktown Heights, which is what I named the album after. And he was driving me back to the airport. I think I was flying from Newark, so we went sort of down the freeway, sort of New Jersey. I'm not sure what it's called, but there's a sort of like a big motorway, freeway, whatever they call them in America. And I just, I think so. And I looked up onto the sort of top of the motorway bit on the back. There was like a big looked like a big sort of warehouse or building, and sort of on the side, like lit up. So it just said All Bright Electric. It was probably like a, maybe some sort of electrical place where they sold sort of lighting or whatever it was, but it really sort of like stood out, and I thought, that's a really good name. I'm going to put that in my notes on my iPhone, and maybe I'll use it for a song title or something, or for an album title. And and then as the album kind of started to take shape, I kind of was sort of messing around with a few album titles, and I kind of sort of came across that one, and I thought, yeah, this feels really good. And it was quite a positive album to make, quite a fun record to make as well, and it felt like we're back in a positive way. All Bright Electric it just feels like a positive kind of message, so yeah, it just came from there, really.
So it's all in my head.
Probably all in your head. I mean, I do write dark. I mean, I like dark. I mean, you say dark, I don't know, but things I like, I write quite sort of naturally songs that have like melody, so I think that takes away a little bit of the kind of maybe the darkness in the tracks, the fact that the songs are quite melodic. But no, I think it's an album that sort of like reflects on life, and we all sort of deal with good things and bad things,
But you called it All Bright Electric, so everything is great.
All Bright Electric. It was just the album title. There's not. I didn't. The title isn't a reflection of all the songs on the record. It's just a title that it's just a body of work, and that was a title that felt like the one to use. It's a bit like naming a. Obviously it's not as important to me, but it's every album feels like a little baby or like a pet, or in some way it's just a certain name you just go with, and it feels right for that record. Yeah.
I don't know, I listened to a lot of your records, and it felt like the beginning was a bit more poppy, Renegades was a bit more political, so there was a change in vibe, and then this one felt a bit grim. So my question...
That's really weird, because you're the first person that said that, because
really?
Everyone thinks the opposite, yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's the most positive record we've ever made.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm in a grim period of my life.
Maybe. But the thing is, I think it's... I think the songs had more depth, the fact that, our early stuff was heavier. Then I suppose Echo Park was what I call our more poppy indie side. That was, songs like, 7 Days, About Roger, stuff like that. But if you listen to a lot of the stuff, Certainly from sort of Yesterday Went Too Soon, which is our second album onwards, there's always been songs that have a slight kind of sort of melancholic sort of feel to them as well. That's kind of just, it's just in my DNA. I just sort of naturally write about things that, or so something that affects me, or on personal experiences, or even people I know who are going through stuff, and that comes through in the songwriting. It's great for for a songwriter, because it gives you something to write about sometimes. It doesn't necessarily mean that my life is in this dark place every day. I'd be lying to you if I said that, everybody goes through dark moments. It doesn't matter how good your life is, you just do. And you can be the happiest person in the world, have like the best life in the world, have everything, and still get really bad, like depression or whatever it is. And it's, and it's very common with people, not only people in day-to-day sort of jobs, but also people in the entertainment world. It can be a weird place sometimes.
So it kind of leads me into my next question.
Yeah.
Do you read the news? Do you follow?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm not. I don't really bring too much politics into music, because I think that I'm not a sort of a political songwriter. I'm not a sort of a. I've never really pretended to be. But I think as you get older, certain things, and I've got 2 kids as well. You kind of think about things, and you worry about things that maybe when you're a sort of a young band starting off, it's all about the music and about you just having a good time. And I think as you get older, things kind of affect you a bit more. So that naturally does sort of have a small influence on some of the songs here and there. But I don't like I'm not really into. I think music needs to be a kind of an escape as well. So I think if I get overly political in songs, it can feel like, if I feel strongly about something, I will touch on it, but I don't want to sort of. I think music should, what I love about music is it's kind of it takes you to a place, and it's kind of an escape from things sometimes. So I don't want to be overly political, if I'm making any sense.
So would you say that you believe that ignorance is bliss?
No, it's not at all. I think you have to be very aware, but I don't think I think the songwriting is not always about what's going on in the news. It really depends on how, what you're trying to say at that at that moment, really. Some songs want to be like nursery rhymes, and that's a weird way of describing it, but some songs want to have that very just kind of, they're not just sort of just kind of simple and not really necessarily making any big statement either way, and then other songs can be a little bit more, whether it's like political or a little bit more open,
used for escapism.
Yeah, escapism, whatever it is. I think I do touch on stuff. I do touch on things that are a little bit dark sometimes, but I think most songwriters you probably do, unless you're in some sort of throwaway pop band. And pop music is about just having fun and jumping around, whatever it is. Which is great, but we're not necessarily a pop band, so I don't know. That's quite a hard question really to answer, but
Sorry.
No, that's all right. It's fine. I mean, I try and I think the kind of music speaks for itself really, and I think it's funny because you can play a song to 10 people and everyone will have a slightly different opinion or a slightly different feeling, when they hear that music, and sometimes you almost want, I always sort of hate talking too heavily about songs because you don't want to cloud somebody's sort of vision of what they're getting from that song. Music is everyone takes, it's like reading a book. When I read a book, I've got an image in my head about what I'm reading, but your image might be completely different to what if you read the same book. It's the same when you hear a song, isn't it?
So a bit off topic, if you read a book and you watch the film, or does it ruin it for you?
When I write songs, I've got a film in my head all the time. That's how I write. I always have, and I find it a really good way of writing. I sort of have this sort of soundtrack thing. Even with some of the really more bouncy indie tracks we do, I still have some sort of story or some sort of image in my head about how I kind of see the songs. I find that quite helpful because it sort of gives it not like a screenplay, but it makes it slightly. You find something like a line or something that gives you a thread that you build on, and then that becomes a song. It's hard writing songs. It's really hard because you try and say things in a very simple way, but and that's a real art. It's always hard. It's hard for anyone. It doesn't matter how good a songwriter you are. Sometimes it can get sometimes it's harder and sometimes it's easier, you know. I definitely think a lot more about the sort of lyrical side of stuff as I've got older. You know, when I was younger, yeah, of course I thought, but I was never. It was always kind of a quite a hard thing, you know, not a particularly natural thing, and it was more about just the vibe of the band and just kind of rocking it out and doing our thing. But I think as you sort of, you know, make more and more records, experience a bit more, you know, it becomes more important, you know. It certainly does to me anyway.
I think that's why I felt that Old Brother Electric was a bit more grim, because it felt more personal, more about relationships and progression as a human being.
It is, but I think a lot of the records have that. If you listen to Silent Cry album, that's got a lot that touches on that as well. If you listen, I think maybe if you actually listen to all the records, I mean, even Echo Park has elements of that. There's songs like Oxygen, there's songs like Piece by Piece. Everyone thinks of Echo Park, yeah, I might call it our pop album, but there is a couple of slightly darker tracks on that, you know. It's just that people know it for the hits, you know. But I think it's just something, you know. It's a sort of, I write with a sort of positive, negative thing, you know. It's a kind of balance between the two, I think, with me, you know.
So just one last question.
Yeah, of course.
The relationship. Do you think that human beings should be in romantic relationships?
My God, this is quite a heavy.
Yeah,
one,
it's gonna get really heavy.
Sorry, what I think human beings?
Human beings, are we programmed, or is it primal to be in a romantic relationship, or should we be by ourselves?
No, I think I think some people aren't good together, but I would sort of always vote for, you know, I think companionship is really important. You know, I think it is, definitely. I think it's soon, especially as you get older. You know, you always feel when you just sort of see some older people which you just know haven't got anyone. You know, I think that's quite sad. I think, you know, the joy of having kids and stuff like that is, you know, I think as you get older, that's even more important. You know, their grandchildren as you become older and stuff like that. So, I think we're programmed to be together, you know, or to, you know, to be in a relationship, you know, whatever that is. That's my thought anyway. Some people might disagree, some people might just want to live their lives on their own, and that's fine. I've got a lot of friends who like that life, but it's not for me.
Grand Feeder,
that's all right. Thanks a lot.
Anything you want to add to fans and listeners?
No, not really. Maybe I'll go off and have some therapy now and sort myself out. No, I'm fine. No, just, you know, thanks for everyone's support who's been with Feeder this long, and check out the new album All Bright Electric. I think it's one of our best. Cheers.